River of Life mission. We've been here in Chinatown close to 20 years. It was started just serving sandwiches out of the back of a car. And then they rented this building, a small space downstairs, and we were about to be evicted. The owner wanted to sell the building, so we just took a step of faith and bought it. And so we're still paying for it, of course, but it's really expanded a lot in the last 10 years.
This used to be a bar, and we have 3 services a day. We are a faith-based organization, nonprofit. We don't get any monies from the state nor the federal government. 80% of our donations come from individual donors. Sometimes we have the hotels call us, and we'll pick up from their banquets and go ahead and serve the guests anywhere from, it could be steak to chicken to whatever. We have 41 different churches that come in and partner with us, and they have a particular night. They'll come in, they'll do a time of worshiping the Word, they'll cook the food, serve the food, and then clean up and on they go. The guests are not required to come to any of our religious services, but they can come in if they want and get spiritually fed and then get physically fed.
We feed, we do 3 meals a day. We have a lot of work with churches. About 50 churches help us at night. A different church does each night. They do the food, they bring the volunteers, and they take care of the service. We're also the lead agency for a shelter in Waipahu. It's done at a Lighthouse Outreach Center, a church, a gymnasium, and we're sleeping about 110 or 115 people there each night. So we stay real busy. Being quite honest, I didn't think I could do this kind of work because I've been a hard worker all my life, and I wasn't sure I could work around people who look like they ought to be able to work. And it took about 4 months for me to realize that homelessness is a lot more involved problem than a job. A lot of it's education, job skills, life skills, mental illness. There's just a wide variety of people. There's a tendency to think that most people on the streets are drug addicts or prostitutes, and there are a lot, but there's at least a third of the people don't want to be there and they'd like their life to change. And we concentrate on that third, even though we meet the needs of the other two-thirds. Another third probably has mental challenges, on medications, and the other third is satisfied living like they are. So we meet the needs of all 3 groups and really concentrate on the group that wants to change. And we've had some success there. It's the kind of work you have to be called to do. You measure success in just small steps.
I came here after I'd done 5 years in prison, yeah. And after I was in a program in there for 2 years, and I thought I'd come here to the mission, and I think it was a God-given thing that I came here, and amazing things happen here. Just keep going forward. I mean, going to the next level.
4 or 5 of my staff people were ex-street people, and there's one lady here. When I came here, it was really kind of funny. She had been on the streets for 14 years. She had gone through a divorce, lost her house, living in a park with her 3 kids, working a job. Someone else was watching her kids for her, and one day she came home, social service had taken her children, and that just started a real downward spiral in her life, and spent 14 years on the street. In fact, when we first came here, we got in a disagreement, and she shook her finger at me and told me, "I've been supporting you for 14 years, meaning she's been using our services for that long. And she told me if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have a job." So one day I asked her if she'd like to be a volunteer, and she just totally shocked her. And so she started as a volunteer, and then she went on my stipend program for a small amount a week. And then she went half-time staff, and for the last 2.5 years, she's been a full-time staff person.
This is like my family. I've never really had a structured family, so these are my sisters and my brothers, and I just enjoy them every day, you know. Yeah, we have struggles, but we still get through it, yeah, as family.
We have a young guy he was electrocuted in an industrial accident, and he'd been drug use, but it caused extensive problems for him, and went through a divorce and just dropped out of his kids' lives. And he came here about 8 or 9 months ago, and we began to work with him, and He's reconciled with his children and asks his children to forgive him. And he sees them every week. He calls them every morning and every night. And it's, it's really satisfying when you see those kinds of things happen.
We can help other people, and when we help them, it's like we can give ourselves to them, yeah, and it helps us to grow as well.
One of the things I think people need to know is that, first of all, to understand the homeless problem, the situation. It's most people, you talk about homeless and they think of the guy pushing the Safeway cart down the street overloaded with things. And sure, there are a lot of those, but there are a lot of people who are on the streets through no fault of their own. They're just things that have happened in their life, and they're there and they need help. And I have 5 sons. I have 3 adopted kids that I've raised, and they're all over the place. And one of them's having problems, and he's in a mission on the mainland. And I would like to think that if my kids were somewhere else and they needed help, there'd be somebody there to help them. And so that's how I try to approach the job here, is that the people that come here are somebody's children, or their brothers or sisters, or mother or their father. And so there has to be somebody to help. And that's what motivates us to help, because most of us are, 1 or 2 paychecks from a lot of where these people are. That's why when the people come here, we call them guests. When we feed them, we serve them at a table. I mean, it's bad enough that you're coming to get food from somebody else, and then not to be treated with dignity and respect is uncalled for. And that's what we try to do, and I think that's what people need to know.
I always look back to see where I came from, because I can't forget that. But it shows me how far I came, and why would I want to turn around and go back because I came this far, yeah. So I think God has a plan for each and every one of us.